Hey folks, my name is Brian and welcome back to Politic Talks. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about a social trend that we've been seeing in the past couple of years, and I'm going to be tying it into politics in the second part of the video. So let's get started. So the trend that I referred to in my introduction is this idea that the average citizen doesn't trust experts on certain issues anymore. I'm thinking in particular about the outbreak of measles in certain parts of New York, which has caused a state of emergency to be declared in certain districts. This is tied, as most of you are aware, I'm sure, the idea that vaccinations cause autism. There was a single study that was done that made this claim, and it was quickly debunked by the majority of the scientific community. This anti-vaxxer movement, as it's been known, is, in my view, a disturbing trend that has been occurring in all issues, political or non-political, in that the average citizen doesn't trust information presented by experts on a certain issue. They only believe or trust information that comes from the sources that they believe in or that fits their worldview. Because of the internet, the average citizen now has access to a greater variety of sources of information than ever before, and I am acutely aware that I am saying that as a person on the internet, so bear that in mind. 50 or 100 years ago, the average citizen would only have information that was given to them by some sort of state media or radio or television or newspapers. So basically, the information that was disseminated was only approved by the government of the day in certain countries. Whereas now, most Western countries anyway have access to a free internet where people like me can talk about things that they don't necessarily have any expertise or training in. I like to think I have some training and expertise in the area of politics, but in any other area, say medicine, practice of medicine, I would not be an authority, but people would still be able to access my point of view if I chose to give it out and put it on the internet. I think this trend is particularly interesting in countries with a liberal democracy. That's small l, by the way. Because these countries, of which Canada is one, the United States, France, the UK, Germany, a lot of other Western-style countries, everybody gets an equal vote if you're of the age of majority. I find this trend particularly interesting as it applies to politics. What I mean by that is, let's just take a political issue at random, say healthcare. A person who has not completed high school but is of the age of majority, who can legally vote, has just as valid a vote on an issue like healthcare as somebody who is a doctor and who has gone through years and years of post-secondary education. And because in an open society, the average citizen can access a huge amount of information and varying opinions, whether or not they're right or wrong, and therefore the number of people that are not as educated as, say, a professional or somebody who is an expert in a field can feel like they have just as much information as somebody who spent 12 years or 8 years in a university studying a topic. If you're watching this video, chances are you're aware that the idea of democracy started in ancient Greece. In ancient Greece, every man or woman in the society was not given a vote. It was only given to the elite in the society. Slaves and women, just to name a few groups, were unable to vote. So it's important to talk about here the fact that the system that many Western countries have now adopted as their political system is not what was initially envisioned in ancient Greece. Now, you could make the easy argument that the system that we have now in the Western world is far fairer to everybody than it was in ancient Greece, but it also presents a whole new set of problems. Everybody has access to a huge amount of information, and the critical point here is that information has not been vetted, especially if it's on YouTube or Google, in any way. You can find blogs or video blogs like this one where the information is not being vetted by any expert. Therefore, the average citizen can think they are educated on a topic without any assurances that the information that they're bringing in is correct. A counter-argument to the problem that I just underlined about an uneducated person having just as valid a vote as an expert, the argument that could be made against that idea is that the person that is eventually elected will appoint experts to advise on policy issues. And that's a totally fair point to pretty much undo everything that I've done here in the last few minutes. But it doesn't always work that way when, in a hyperpolarized society, an individual is elected on a highly partisan platform that has misinformation at its heart. So the policy decisions that are going to be made, in some cases, may not actually be in the best interests of the country. Now, of course, there's no putting the genie back in the bottle in terms of taking votes away from people that are of the age of majority. No one's going to advocate for that on a national level, first of all, and it's never going to be permitted by a democratic government because everybody gets the same vote. Totally aside from the fact that even if there was a political mandate to accomplish this, it would never be done, because I don't think it's really possible. The only real solution to this that I could think of, and I'm just thinking off the top of my head here, would be some kind of an IQ test, or you could have a vote if you got a certain level of academic qualification. And this becomes a circular argument because then it becomes a society run by the elites. And to play devil's advocate on that last point, if it's done by an IQ test, there are plenty of brilliant people that never see the inside of a post-secondary institution. So maybe an IQ test would be the way to go. But again, there's no way that this would ever be accomplished because the political system that we in the West live under would never approve of that being put in place. Anyway, guys, that's been on my mind the last little while, so I just decided to put my thoughts out there. This may be a controversial topic, so if you have any challenges to what I've said here today, feel free to leave them in the comments, and please like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.